There was a time when horsepower came from grit, not gadgets, when dawn broke over golden fields and the hum of an engine meant another day's work well done. These tractor engines didn't just run farms, they built legacies. Today, we're counting down the 7 greatest small farm tractor engines ever built, machines that refuse to quit, even after decades in the barn. And trust me, the one at number 1 is a legend you'll never forget. Number 7. The Ford 8N. Back in 1947, when America's farms were rebuilding after the war, the Ford 8N rolled onto the scene, simple, strong, and ready to work. It wasn't built for fame or luxury. It was built for everyday farmers, the ones who rose with the sun, pulled on their boots, and trusted a single machine to do it all. Under the hood sat a 4-cylinder L-head engine, just 119 cubic inches, but pure reliability. It started on cold mornings when frost still clung to the barn doors. It didn't roar, it hummed, steady and honest. With about 23 horsepower at the drawbar, it had enough muscle to plow, mow, or haul without complaint. And best of all, it rarely broke down. Farmers joked that the 8N could run on hope and a half tank of gas. What made it perfect for small farms wasn't just its engine, it was the way that engine worked with you. The torque was smooth, the clutch forgiving, the idle steady as a heartbeat. You could feel the power through your hands on the steering wheel, that gentle vibration that said, "I've got this." Then came Ford's big idea, the 3-point hitch. A simple invention that changed everything. Suddenly, one tractor could do the work of 3. You could hook up a plow in minutes, lift it with the touch of a lever, and be back in the field before the coffee cooled. For small farmers, it was freedom, no need for a hired crew, no need for complicated tools. Just you, your 8N, and the land. That's why so many of these old Fords still run today. 70 years later, they start up with a twist of the key and a puff of blue smoke, ready for one more round. Some have been passed from father to son, even grandfather to grandson. The paint may fade, the tires may crack, but that engine still sounds the same, steady, faithful, proud. On small farms across the Midwest, its gray and red silhouette is still a symbol of hard work done with heart. It didn't need fancy decals or digital gauges. It just needed to run, and it did. Day after day, year after year, long after the warranty ended and the manuals were lost. That's the magic of the Ford 8N, a tractor that proved sometimes the simplest engines build the strongest legacies. But the one that came next, the red one, changed everything. Number 6. The Farmall H. When you picture the American heartland, rows of corn swaying under a summer breeze, the hum of an engine echoing down a gravel road, chances are that sound came from a Farmall H. From 1939 to 1953, this red workhorse from International Harvester became the heartbeat of small farms across the Midwest. Under its had lived the C152 4-cylinder engine, 152 cubic inches of simple, honest power. It wasn't built to impress anyone at the county fair, but to get through another long day in the field. About 26 horsepower at the drawbar, but every bit of it usable, steady, and dependable. This engine had a rhythm, smooth, calm, almost musical. You could run it all day, and it would never complain. Farmers loved the H because it never asked for much. It didn't need perfect fuel or fancy tools. Gasoline, kerosene, even distillate, it burned whatever you poured in. The magneto ignition was tough and easy to fix. And the engine block, cast thick, built to last. For the small farmer, the Farmall H was freedom. It was big enough to handle 2 bottom plows and hay balers, yet light enough for cultivating between the rows. The steering was smooth, the throttle gentle. You didn't need muscle, you needed patience, and the H rewarded it with loyalty. This tractor was more than just a machine, it was family. Many of them are still running today, 70 or 80 years later, with the same original engine block. You'll find them at tractor shows, red paint faded to pink, but the sound's still strong, steady, and familiar. It's the sound of a generation that worked with their hands and took pride in doing it right. What made the Farmall H perfect for small farms wasn't horsepower, it was heart. It started every morning, no matter the weather. It pulled, planted, cultivated, and harvested without ever trying to be something it wasn't. Reliable, honest, red through and through. Even today, when one of those old H's rumbles to life, heads still turn. Folks smile. Because that sound isn't just metal and fuel, it's memory. It's the echo of a time when hard work was enough, and a good tractor could outlast the man who drove it. But the next one on our list, painted green, with just 2 cylinders, didn't just work the fields, it sang through them. Number 5. The John Deere Model B. There's a sound that every farmer in the Midwest knows by heart, a deep, steady pop 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 rolling across open fields at dawn. That's the voice of the John Deere Model B, the green machine that turned small farming into an art form. From 1935 to 1952, it worked the soil, raised families, and earned its place in history one heartbeat at a time. The Model B carried John Deere's signature 2-cylinder engine, 175 cubic inches of raw, honest torque. 2 pistons, working side by side, firing slow and strong. It wasn't smooth like a car, it talked to you. Each pop meant power, rhythm, and reliability. And that long-stroke design gave it a pull that felt far bigger than its size. For small farms, it was perfect, light on fuel, easy to fix, and strong enough for almost any chore. Farmers loved how simple it was. You didn't need a toolbox full of gadgets, just a wrench, a bit of grease, and know-how passed down from your father. The carburetor was easy to reach, the magneto simple to tune, and that big flywheel, it made starting the engine feel like waking up an old friend. You could almost feel the heartbeat of the land in those slow, powerful rotations. And then there was the sound, that famous Johnny Popper tone. No other engine in the world sounded like it. You could hear it half a mile away and still smile, knowing someone was out there plowing or pulling hay. For many small farmers, that sound meant work was getting done, and life was still good. The Model B wasn't built to impress, but to endure. It stayed humble, reliable, and loyal, the kind of tractor that would start on a cold morning when newer ones refused. It didn't have fancy features, but it had something better, soul. That 2-cylinder engine became a symbol of perseverance, proof that simplicity and strength can go hand in hand. Even now, decades later, collectors still fire them up just to hear that steady rhythm. It's more than nostalgia, it's a connection. Between generations, between man and machine, between the past and the earth that fed us. But the next tractor on our list was smaller, gentler, and built for farmers who treated their fields like a garden. Number 4. The Massey-Harris Pony. In the years after the war, not every farmer worked hundreds of acres. Many tended smaller plots, vegetable gardens, orchards, and truck farms that fed local towns. For them, a big tractor was too much. They needed something light, nimble, and built with care. Enter the Massey-Harris Pony, a small red tractor with a big heart, made from 1947 to 1957. Under that modest hood sat the Continental N62 engine, a 1-liter, 4-cylinder workhorse that delivered just around 10 horsepower. On paper, that doesn't sound like much. But on a small farm, it was everything you needed, and nothing you didn't. The engine was quiet, smooth, and incredibly fuel efficient. It sipped gas like a careful man at the end of a long day, never wasteful, always steady. The Pony wasn't built for brute strength, it was built for finesse. It could weave between orchard trees, slip through tight vegetable rows, and turn in spaces where larger tractors couldn't dream of fitting. For market gardeners and small acre farms, that meant freedom and a lot less sweat. Farmers loved how simple it was to maintain. Spark plugs, filters, carburetor, everything right there in the open. You didn't need a mechanic's degree to keep it running. A bit of oil, a clean rag, and that little Continental engine would hum right back to life. And it had a sound, soft, confident, and kind of comforting. More a purr than a roar. The Pony carried itself with a certain charm, small but proud, like it knew its place in the world and did its job without complaint. It wasn't about horsepower or competition, it was about reliability, about showing up every morning ready to work. And it did for years, even decades. You'll still see them today, shining at vintage shows or tucked into the corner of a barn, red paint fading but the engine still ready. Some farmers keep them for mowing, others just to remember. Because when that little engine starts up, it's not just noise, it's memory. It's the sound of tomatoes ripening in the sun, of apple trees swaying in the wind, of a time when farming felt more personal. But the tractor coming next, bright orange and full of muscle, brought a new kind of power to the small farm, and it changed the game. Number 3. The Allis-Chalmers WD45. By the early 1950s, American farms were changing. The war was over, the fields were bigger, and farmers wanted more power, but they still needed something they could trust, something built with heart. Then came the Allis-Chalmers WD45, and it didn't just meet those expectations, it blew them away. Under that bright orange would beat a 226 cubic inch, 4-cylinder engine, bold, brawny, and ready to work from sunrise to dusk. Gasoline or diesel, it didn't matter. The WD45 pulled like a locomotive. It delivered nearly 40 horsepower, but it felt like much more. When that engine came to life, you didn't just hear power, you felt it rumble through the ground beneath your boots. For the small to medium farm, it was everything you could ask for, a machine that could plow, disc, rake, and bale with ease. But what truly set the WD45 apart was its innovation. Allis-Chalmers introduced one of the first live power takeoffs, the legendary Live PTO. That meant the engine could keep driving your equipment even when the tractor stopped moving. To farmers, that was revolutionary. It made baling smoother, mowing safer, and field work faster. The WD45's engine was strong, but it was also forgiving. The hand clutch let you ease power in or out like butter. And when you leaned into that throttle, it had that deep, confident growl, not loud or wild, just powerful and sure. It gave farmers the confidence to tackle jobs that once took 2 men and twice the time. You could fix it yourself, too. The design was straightforward, easy to service in the barn with a wrench and a steady hand. That's why so many of these engines are still running today, pulling plows at antique shows or powering parade floats, their orange paint gleaming in the sun. To many, the WD45 wasn't just a machine, it was a symbol of progress, of pride, of the moment when small farmers stepped into a new era. When horsepower meant independence, and hard work was something you could hear, smell, and hold on to. Bright orange, bold, and built to last, the Allis-Chalmers WD45 earned its nickname honestly, the powerhouse of the 50s. But the tractor that came next, smoother, quieter, and ahead of its time, brought small farming into an entirely new class. Number 2. The Oliver 77. By the late 1940s, farming was becoming more refined, faster, cleaner, and just a little more comfortable. And when it came to smoothness and class, no tractor did it better than the Oliver 77. It wasn't just another machine on the field, it was a statement, a sign that a small farmer could have power, reliability, and a touch of grace. Under that green hood was a masterpiece, the Waukesha Oliver 6-cylinder engine, 216 cubic inches of balance and strength. Unlike the rough, shaking 4 cylinders of the past, this one purred. It started easy, ran quiet, and delivered a steady wave of torque that never let up. You didn't feel it jerking or fighting, it just pulled, smooth and strong, like a well-trained horse that knew exactly what you wanted. For small farms, that engine was pure gold. It had enough power for plowing, haying, or pulling wagons, yet it stayed calm and easy to handle. No extra noise, no extra strain. You could spend all day in the field and still have the energy to sit on the porch when the sun went down. That's the kind of comfort and reliability that made the Oliver 77 a favorite across the Midwest. This was a tractor that gave back. It didn't break your back, it didn't waste your time, and it didn't ask for much in return. Just a little oil, a little fuel, and some respect. It was smooth in every sense, in the way it ran, in the way it handled, and in the way it looked standing proudly in the yard, that green paint shining in the morning light. To many, the Oliver 77 felt like stepping up in life. It was dependable enough to work hard, but refined enough to make you proud every time you turned the key. It became the Cadillac of the cornfield, quiet, comfortable, and built to outlast its owners. Even today, when one of those 6 cylinders fires up, it still has that unmistakable sound, gentle, confident, alive. You'll find them still working, or restored with care, their Waukesha engines running as smooth as the day they left the factory. They remind us that sometimes, power doesn't need to shout. It just needs to show up, steady, loyal, and ready to work. But the one that takes the top spot, number 1, wasn't just powerful, it was nearly unbreakable. A machine so tough, it earned a reputation as the tractor that time itself couldn't stop. Number 1. The J.I. Case Model DC. When people talk about tractors that refuse to die, this is the one they mean. The J.I. Case Model DC, built from 1939 to 1953, wasn't the prettiest, the fastest, or the most comfortable. But when it came to lasting, nothing else came close. It was the tractor that outworked, outlived, and outlasted them all. Under that long, rugged hood sat the legendary Case 267 cubic inch 4-cylinder engine, a slow-turning, heavy-breathing powerhouse. It wasn't about high speed or fancy features, it was about torque, the kind that could pull stumps, drag plows through sticky clay, and keep going when others quit. At around 35 drawbar horsepower, it felt like twice that, because every ounce of it was usable. The DC didn't strain, it just pushed forward, steady and sure. Farmers loved that engine for one simple reason: it never gave up. You could run it hard all day, shut it off hot, and it would still start right up the next morning. Rain, snow, or blistering sun, it didn't matter. That cast iron block, those thick pistons, and that simple design made it nearly indestructible. Many farmers ran their DCs for decades without a single overhaul. Some are still running today, 7 decades later, firing to life after years of sitting in a dusty barn. The Case DC was made for real farmers, men and women who didn't need gadgets or gloss, just raw, honest strength. Its hand clutch, heavy frame, and long wheelbase gave it a sense of purpose. You didn't drive a DC, you partnered with it. You felt every throb of that engine, every heartbeat of iron against earth. It didn't talk much, but it spoke through its work, reliable, calm, unshakable. That's why it earned such loyalty. Even today, you'll find them starting up with the same proud growl they had in 1940, that deep, slow rumble that tells you this machine has nothing left to prove. The faded orange, the eagle badge on the nose, the smell of warm oil in the air, it all feels like a handshake from history. For small farms, it wasn't just a tool, it was a legacy, passed down through generations, as solid and steady as the land it worked. So when we call it the king of durability, it's not just a name, it's a truth proven by time, sweat, and soil. And there we have it, 7 engines that didn't just power tractors, they powered a way of life. Each one told a story of hard work, patience, and pride, forged in the hands of farmers who asked for nothing fancy, just something that would last. What about you? Have you ever driven one of these classics? Tell us your story in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Because here, in the heart of America, strength isn't measured in horsepower. It lives in the hearts of those who keep the engines turning.